This morning in Minneapolis, a federal agent pulled his weapon and fired. A woman is dead, mobs flooded the streets, and the mayor of the city did not back law enforcement. He demanded they leave. What happened on East 34th Street and Portland Avenue was not a protest gone wrong. The Department of Homeland Security is using a word that they don't use lightly. They're calling it domestic terrorism. The question tonight is not whether the shooting was justified. The question is who created the conditions that made it inevitable. Now, here's what's at stake. ICE officers were conducting targeted operations this morning. Just hours earlier, they arrested an illegal alien from Ecuador wanted for murder, a man hiding under Minnesota's sanctuary protections. They were doing their jobs, enforcing laws on the books. Then rioters surrounded them, blocked their movements, and one individual weaponized their vehicle, accelerating directly at federal officers in what DHS explicitly called an attempted mass casualty attack. An ICE agent, fearing for his life and the lives of those around him, fired defensive shots. The attacker is deceased. Multiple officers were injured. They're expected to recover, but here is the part that should chill every American. Assaults on ICE officers, they're up 1,300%. Death threats have skyrocketed 8,000%. See, this did not happen in a vacuum. This is what happens when politicians demonize law enforcement and call them kidnappers, when they tell people to resist. Words have consequences, and today those consequences arrived. Now, when chaos erupts, when mobs flood the streets, and the people sworn to protect us become targets, you realize just how fragile order really is. That's why I trust My Patriot Supply right now. You can get their 3-month emergency food kit and save $100. That's right, over 2,000 calories a day for 90 days, breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, and snacks, real meals packed in sturdy buckets that last up to 25 years. Made in the United States with no MSG and no junk, fast, free shipping, a 30-day return policy, and disaster replacement guarantee. When the world falls apart, your family will still eat 3 meals a day. Go to preparewithgary.com right now. That's preparewithgary.com. Get prepared and get peace of mind. Now, here is where this story explodes. Instead of backing federal agents who just survived an attack, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey demanded ICE leave the city. Let that sink in. Federal officers are rammed with a vehicle. One fires to save lives, and the mayor sides with the mob. This is the same mayor who warned that ICE operations would get someone killed. He poured gasoline on this fire for months, accusing agents of kidnapping, encouraging defiance, inflaming hostility, and now mobs are converging on the scene. Calls are erupting online to expel ICE entirely. The sanctuary state experiment is collapsing in real time. Tim Walz now amplifying the mayor of Minneapolis. He's threatening to mobilize the Minneapolis National Guard to keep the federal government out of Minnesota. This is coming to us from the Right Angle News Network. And they say this is literal Civil War style rhetoric.
In training in order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community. They're business owners. They're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information. Now I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Porter to prepare
No, you should not turn it over. You should turn yourself in. And that's exactly why he is acting this way, because he knows that he is under the microscope right now. The fraud in Minneapolis, the fraud in Minnesota has grown so massive that there's no place for him to run. That's why he left his office. That's why he's not running again. He hasn't left his office, but he has yet to resign. We hope he does. But the facts remain. The corruption, the billions stolen all happened under his watch, and President Trump is executing the laws faithfully of this land. He's executing them in Minnesota. However, these tragedies are now unfolding because of the rhetoric that has come from people like Tim Walz. This is some of the footage. Kim Katie USA says this is a better angle of the shooting incident in Minneapolis. It's clear officers were attempting to detain her, and she put the lives of the agents at risk. And she put the lives of, they clearly fire in self-defense, and the shooting was justified. I will let you be the judge.
Dude, you shot her! I'm trying to help! No! You fucking shot someone in the fucking face!
So let's go take it back to the beginning here. This is the actual moment.
No!
They tell her to get out of the car.
Shame!
Oh my goodness.
Oh my fucking god! What the fuck? What the fuck? You just fucking, what the fuck did you do?
There's the moment right there. That's going to be analyzed over and
You
over
are
and over
fucking
again.
criminals! You're fucking criminals!
Let's see this again here. I'm going to actually slow it down. Play it in half speed. You can watch it. Get out of the car, get out of the car. Get out of the effing car.
No!
Agent tries to open the car. The woman tries to back out and leave. And a agent that is in the foreground.
Oh my fucking god!
The agent in the foreground is attempting to. The agent in the foreground fires in what appears as they claim a defensive move. Now, of course, we are watching this at half speed, so things are slowed down. But clearly, the individual in the vehicle is attempting to leave. Now, okay, so watch now. Let's see if we can see where that officer that fires a shot is directly in front of the vehicle. So this is where the moment becomes clear that they are claiming it's defensive, because there's 3 agents on the ground, 1 agent leaning in, telling her to stop, asking her to get out of the vehicle, and then she attempts to flee in the direction where the agent is standing directly in front of the vehicle. So therefore, the agent is going to feel like he is under threat, like he is about to be run over by the vehicle, because it's not clear if this woman's going to accelerate. It's unclear, given past history, especially what happened in Chicago with the woman there with an SUV ramming into ICE agents' vehicles. Okay, so this is not a far stretch for the agents to be on high alert, because we've seen it happen in other cities. So defensive action here, in my opinion, would play. But let's watch this a little bit closer and analyze. Okay, so there he is. Okay, so he's drawing his weapon right there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this back even slower to 25% speed. So he's got his weapon drawn at this moment. Now we're 25% speed. Okay, and okay, so I'm going to try this one more time, because we did not hear clearly when the shots were fired, but I do want to have a clear understanding as you're watching this with me, frame by frame, because we do have reaction from everybody else on this. We may be spending a lot more time than we need to, but this is actually a very critical analysis that we're doing together as we watch. Okay, so I'm talking and I should have had the mics open here. Okay, so let's pull this back just a hair. Okay, so there's the agent. You can see the agent.
No!
The agent's drawing right now.
Shit!
Okay. So there you have the shots fired, the car driving in the direction. The agent did appear to be somewhat offset to the front of the vehicle, obviously this angle is going to be harder to interpret, but the claims here are defensive. And like I said, I think it could be warranted, especially given the highlighting, the heightened sense of threat that these officers and agents are under. Here is Secretary Noem reacting. This is the official response. And of course, yes. Okay. So this is the response to attempting to run them over. And okay, let's just listen.
And attacked them. You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers and in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies as well. You asked about a shooting that we just...
So the official response from the Department of Homeland Security, defensive posture. Now, I want to get to the mayor, Jacob Frey. This is rapid response posting. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey says the heroes of ICE who have removed droves of hardened criminals off Minneapolis streets are not here to cause safety in the city. And the official remarks from the White House rapid response team is this scumbag should be ashamed of himself. Listen.
They are not here to cause safety in this city. What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust. They are not.
Yeah, the only people causing chaos and distrust are the politicians who are stealing money, who are on the take for the billions and billions of dollars, who are spitting harmful rhetoric, which causes women like that to act out, thinking they're going to have the backing of Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar and Jacob Frey. Now somebody's dead because of that rhetoric, and it's a shame. Let's keep going here. Democrats have been egging people to resist and defy federal law enforcement and have accused them of kidnapping and other heinous crimes for merely doing their jobs, Bolton early writes. I'm saddened but not surprised that a death has now occurred, allegedly from someone trying to hurt ICE. Let's check in. He was quote tweeting Gunter Eagleman, send in the Marines to Minnesota right now and lay down the law. Here's a report from the scene as it occurred.
Minneapolis. Dana, we're in the heart of Minneapolis. We're here on East 35th and Portland Avenue. And let me show you first, I'll show you who's on scene. That is Mayor Jacob Frey. He's the mayor of Minneapolis. To the side here on the left side of your screen, that is Police Chief Brian O'Hara. There is an enormous law enforcement presence here from multiple different jurisdictions. Our photographer is going to show you what the crowd looks like here, Dana. Mayor Frey is now leaving. I think you're probably starting to hear people yelling to him, but he is now leaving. He had spoken with some people on the edge of the crowd when he first arrived, according to a man who had video of it. He did not come back to the crowd. Now a crowd is following him down the street. But what you're looking at right now is the law enforcement response here. So you see Minneapolis Police, you see the Hennepin County Sheriff's Department. We've also seen the U.S. Marshals here. We've seen Customs and Border Patrol. But let me bring you up to speed with what we know. As you said, we know that there was a shooting involving federal law enforcement near East 34th Street and Portland Avenue. That was according to the city of Minneapolis. We do not yet know for sure what the extent of any injuries are or for what prompted this. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has weighed in, saying my public safety team is working to gather information on an ICE-related shooting this morning. Again, Mayor Jacob Fry is here. This is all in the context of this ramped-up immigration enforcement that DHS has been touting. They say this is the largest immigration crackdown to date, 2,000 agents spread throughout the Twin Cities. This has been going on for a couple of days now. We know that DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was here in the Minneapolis area yesterday. And what we see now is this real peak moment here where, based on our understanding, there was a shooting involving federal law enforcement here, and as Governor Tim Walz said, involving an ICE agent. We are learning to, trying to learn as much as we can. But let me just get you, another picture of the crowd here, because this is a city where these George Floyd riots are not far in the rearview mirror. And what I keep hearing from people in this area is they say, if you thought that was bad, this city is about to explode. Dana,
wow. You heard what she just said? She invoked the George Floyd riots not being too far in the rear view, and then talking to people on the street saying, if you thought that was bad, just wait till you see what happens next. Now, that was, of course, a reference to what happened during the Summer of Love. Right now, we are in the Winter of Truth. So I don't think that we're going to see that level of protesting and firebombing, or peaceful protests, mostly peaceful, largely peaceful protests in the wintertime. Because, let's be clear, activists aren't paid enough to go out and do those things in the wintertime, right? The pay isn't just that good. So maybe come summertime, we'll have a different perspective, but hopefully President Trump can lock this down before summer so that it's all squashed. That's what we need to do. We need to move quick. We need to move quickly. We need to squash all this stuff before it heats up, and then the paid protesters come out, and then CNN's reporting in the streets that there's mostly peaceful protests. Somali bootlicking Mayor Jacob Frey said ICE raids would get someone killed. What got this woman killed was her ramming ICE agents with her car because she was encouraged to resist ICE. Let's take a look at this flashback moment.
I am increasingly concerned because of the chaos that is being caused by these ICE agents that somebody is going to get seriously injured or killed. Somebody is going to get seriously injured or killed. And whether that is an ICE agent or a community member, we all know the tinderbox that could explode because of it. We all know that the federal government is looking for reasons to deploy more and more people to Minneapolis and blue cities around the country. We all know that we cannot afford to lose a single Minneapolis resident because they showed up and decided to protect their neighbors, because they showed up and decided to express their constitutional right to free speech. And so that concern is deep. It is held, by the way, not just by me and our residents and the people who are standing up behind me. The concern about getting somebody killed is also held by our police officers. I am increasingly...
Well, now someone's dead because of your rhetoric, sir. So if there's anyone to blame, it is you. Leftist terrorist in Minneapolis tries ramming her vehicle into ICE agents, gets fatally shot in self-defense. The woman is deceased. The mayor, Jacob Frey, threatened this would happen last month. He must resign. Pray for ICE and all border agents. Here is another report from the scene.
The ICE off. Well, we've got confirmation now through DHS that this was a vehicle ramming situation. They say, in fact, while ICE officers and federal agents were conducting targeted operations, they had the usual scene with the crowds descending on them, and someone, they say, DHS says, weaponized her vehicle. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the lives of other agents, discharged his weapon and shot that individual, a woman who now, according to DHS, is in fact deceased. Now, I've got some of the statement from DHS saying that this is a direct consequence of constant attacks and demonization of our officers by by sanctuary politicians who fuel and encourage rampant assaults. As far as the scene out here right now, you can see some of the police presence. The tape that is up to the south of me right now, there are about 100 demonstrators. The usual scene, shouting at the ICE agents. Well, we got confirmation now through DHS.
You know, it's really a tragedy. You know, I'm thinking about that woman. I'm not sure of what happened inside that vehicle. But the fact of the matter is she felt emboldened enough to act. And now that woman, a mother, a wife, a daughter to somebody, is not going to go home tonight. And there is a family that's planning a funeral. And the sad part is these people have been deceived and brainwashed into thinking that this activity is okay because of the rhetoric from the left. And that's, again, you can only blame the left for this because they have emboldened the activities. So the real tragedy here is that through deception, through the lies, a woman is now dead. She did not have enough time to hear the truth, to be pulled from that deception. And now she has acted in a manner that caused her to be shot. All you can do is pray for this nation, pray for ICE, pray for the people who are doing these types of actions. Pray that the scales will fall from their eyes. That's all I can say. Tricia McLaughlin. Today, ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters began blocking ICE officers, and one of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them. Now, the angle that we watched, we did not see what happened just before that. I don't have that clip. Maybe it exists, but I don't. As you read from this post, rioters began blocking ICE officers, and one of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle. So there was a moment that preceded that event that escalated tensions to the point where this woman decided that she was going to act in this fashion. Now, I haven't seen that footage yet, but that, by this remark, tells me that there is something else that happened prior to that. Here is the acting ICE director, Todd Lyons, says ICE arrested an illegal from Ecuador wanted for murder who is hiding in Tim Walz, Minnesota. There's no sanctuary for criminal illegal aliens under the Trump administration.
Of extortion, kidnapping. Yeah, Brian, if you look at what we've done, we've undertaken the largest, not only is it the largest immigration enforcement action ever, but in the ICE's history, but it's also the largest criminal enforcement action we've ever taken. Just look at what we arrested yesterday, right? You have somebody from Ecuador, who went to Minnesota to hide in plain sight. He was let in under the last administration's policy in 2022 when he entered, even though he was convicted of extortion, kidnapping, and strangulation, served 10 years in prison, was wanted for murder. Here he is hiding in plain sight in Minnesota. So It's not buffoonery. We're out there doing what we're supposed to do, and we're out there making sure that we're taking these criminally illegal aliens off the street. Yeah, Brian, if you look at what we've done, we've undertaken.
Well, we're looking at what Tim Walz has done. We're looking at what the mayor, Jacob Frey, has done. And now we're looking at the actions of this moment, which will be forever seared into the minds of those who are watching with me. You see, Secretary Kristi Noem put it plainly. A woman attacked officers and attempted to run them over with her vehicle. The agent acted quickly and defensively to protect himself and the people around him. Video from the scene, you can see, confirms it. Officers were attempting to detain her when she accelerated. Textbook self-defense. Legal, justified, and sadly necessary. The Trump administration's position is clear that there is no sanctuary for criminal illegal aliens, and there will be no surrender to mob rule. ICE operations will continue. Officers will defend themselves. The era of consequences has now finally arrived. So what happened in Minneapolis this morning is not complicated. A federal agent did his job, survived an attack, and is now being vilified by the very politicians whose rhetoric created this nightmare. For years, sanctuary leaders told their cities that ICE agents were the enemy. They called enforcement kidnapping. They encouraged resistance. They made heroes out of obstruction. And today, someone believed them enough to weaponize a vehicle against law enforcement. And now she is dead. Not because of ICE, because she was told that attacking federal officers was righteous. This blood is on the hands of every politician who demonized the men and women enforcing our laws. So the question for you tonight: should Mayor Jacob Frey resign for inciting violence against federal agents? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want to stand with law enforcement, check out the Next News merch shop, linked in the description. Show them you have the back.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.